latest on June 24th around the wide world of tropics. Here's your tropical weather bulletin. 3 invests are active today: Invest 93E in the Eastern Pacific and Invest 94 and 95W in the Western Pacific. Still no named storms active at this point. 27 have formed so far around the world as of this June 24th. It's day 24 of Atlantic hurricane season and no systems to speak of here at this time. Of course, we already had one so far, Andrea. Day 41 in the Eastern Pacific and 93E has a 70% chance of development in the next 5 days as it progresses through the Eastern Pacific. Invest 94W has a 60% chance and 95W has a 40% chance, 95W forming today near Micronesia. No systems are active in the southern hemisphere at this time, as you would expect for this time of year. So, looking at Invest 94W, 30 mile an hour winds right now, 1008 millibars according to Force 13's latest analysis, 330 miles from Virac on Catanduanes in the Philippines, 16.6 north, 128.1 east. This is what we expect over the next few days, the system progressing towards the northwest, not particularly quickly at first, and then bending round towards the north, speeding up as it accelerates off towards the northeast as we get towards the end of this week coming up. And you can see there we expect it to become a tropical storm, still more likely than not. Invest 93E has winds of 25 miles per hour, 1009 millibars, 291 miles from Acapulco, 12.7 north, 99.1 degrees east. This is what we expect for this system over the next few days, progressing generally west-northwest, paralleling the coast of Mexico but gradually drawing further away. And at the minute we're not expecting tropical storm formation imminently, but it could still happen sooner than what we're depicting on that chart there. Here's what the wind shear looks like ahead of Invest 93E. You can see there low amounts of wind shear over what might be the center of the system to the northwest of that image there, dropping to around 5 knots, which is very good indeed on this parameter at least. And of course sea surface temperatures are also there, as we'll see a little bit later. So let's take a look around the world, looking at the overviews of the Atlantic. You can see a little bit of activity there through the Lesser Antilles, but really not much to speak of, to be honest. Extratropical system way up towards the north, but really the whole ocean is remaining pretty quiet. The Gulf of Mexico extremely quiet at this point. Of course you would expect that. A little bit more interesting weather further north over the United States, a potential severe weather event. The Eastern Pacific looks like this, besides Invest 93E, which we'll get a close-up of a little bit later. You can see what else is going on in the ocean. A lot of low latitude activity, and really very little beyond the typical tropical storms. Thunderstorms, that is. In the Western Pacific, you can make out Invest 94W on the left-hand side, 95W near the center of the image there. Now it's on the right, moving through the Micronesian islands. Most of 95W actually is cut off below the bottom of that screen, and you might be able to see it just off the top of this screen here, looking at Australia and the Southern Pacific, which is a little bit clunky at the minute, that imagery there. Australia very dry. The Indian Ocean, you can see very little inactivity going on here, to be honest, right now. Of course, it's not so long since Cyclone Ryukyu happened, and I think the Indian Ocean might be quietening down for a while. We'll see. Sea surface temperatures over 93E right now are very warm indeed, 30 degrees or even more than that, 31 plus perhaps in 1 or 2 isolated spots there. The Atlantic, pretty warm in the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, 26 degrees plus. You would expect that at this time of year by now. The Indian Ocean, the cool pool is starting to fill in the wake of Vayu. The Bay of Bengal very warm, 30 degrees plus along the coast of India and Bangladesh. And in the Philippine Sea and the area near Micronesia, very warm waters here, 29 to 30 degrees, even warmer where Invest 94W is right now, maybe 31, perhaps even a nudge above that. Here is the imagery for 94W right now. We're looking at some ASCAT runs earlier showing the center is still very much there, but the wind speeds aren't really with it at this point. But still, it is fighting at this point, and we may still see development a little bit later. And this is Invest 93E, a wider shot than what we were looking at earlier. That's how it's been developing. Its potential centre there near the middle of the screen, and some convection blowing off towards the east of the system. It'll be very interesting to see how this one might develop, but at the minute the models aren't completely picking up on it just yet. We'll wait and see whether they do develop it to become a significant storm, or maybe just a tropical storm not getting to a hurricane. So, the next name in the Atlantic is Barry. We might be about to see Alvin in the Eastern Pacific, and the next name in the Central Pacific is Akoni. In the Western Pacific, we're still waiting for Sipat. It's got a lot of people on the edge of their seats watching these two invest, but they still haven't produced anything yet. And Cyclone Hika would be next in the North Indian Ocean. You can find Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com with the latest, our YouTube page, search Force 13 if you're not there already, subscribe if you haven't, and you can find our social mediums on Facebook and Twitter, search Force 13 all in text, and you can get in touch with us on any of those mediums at any time. You can also help the project become even better by becoming a patron. You can see more information about all the benefits involved by visiting patreon.com/Force13. You can also contact me on Discord. It's Fool13 at extension 9094 and Force13 on Skype. You can also find our server link to our Discord server for tropical weather chat in our description.